This is an MS Views and News interview with Corbin McGhee. He's the Director of Advocacy and Activist Engagement at the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. His mom had MS, and we're going to discuss how having a parent with multiple sclerosis can shape the child's legacy. And we're going to get into all that right after the jump. Okay, so then also, though, your mom passed from MS complications, correct?
Yeah, so, well, we don't know necessarily what it was. She passed from cancer, but there could have been the way she was being treated. We don't know what the cause of the cancer, but it could have been some of the treatment that she was receiving for MS when we didn't know much about MS.
Right. So is it that you got the diagnosis at a certain, I'm just trying to pinpoint, was it all MS or like some other thing and then MS and then this cancer? And now there's always such a circuitous history in diagnosis and figuring out what's going on with you and what's going so how did her thing even evolve?
Yeah, so I feel like growing up, there were a lot of times where my mom was sick or having something like either bad back pain or different symptoms that at the time we just really couldn't explain. But once I was in around like 7th or 8th grade, she started to have optic neuritis. So she lost vision or had blurry vision in one of her eyes. It actually kind of accumulated around a family vacation we took to the Wisconsin Dells, and we were in like an indoor water park.
You were at a water park in Wisconsin, and mom's eyes were going like wonky, and that's what really started this MS journey?
Yeah, I think it was the heat, like how heat can be a huge trigger for multiple sclerosis, and so she was having this optic neuritis that all of a sudden came upon her, and of course we went to doctors, and after some time we finally got the diagnosis that she had multiple sclerosis. She got a doctor, a neurologist, and a team at Rush, and so we started to get her treatment. And at that time there were only, I think, 2 drugs on the market, so she started on Avonex, and then her journey with MS officially began.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You were disease-modifying therapies have come a long way in the past 12 years, 8 years, right? And we're talking about times that are 3 8 years ago, that are 4 8 years ago. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's really it's a strange place to be in when you have this medical condition and there's not much for it. And then the stuff that's for it, it's not really that great and make you feel better. So you're a younger person, right? So you're a younger person seeing mom kind of deteriorate in certain ways. And then you go to this event at the, it's supposed to be an afternoon at the water park, and mom's optic neuritis starts flaring up, right? And so how does one go from mom can't really do much of anything to mom can't see to mom has multiple sclerosis?
Yeah, I mean, I remember being scared at the time. I remember I came home from school and my brothers were both home, and they didn't live with us. They were like grown up and out of the house. So I was the youngest. They were home, and we were, I think we were like having a family dinner or something, if I remember. And my mom kind of sat us at the table and was like, I did want to tell you all something. We did find out that I have multiple sclerosis. And I remember at the time, there was like a range of emotions happening from my brothers, myself, my dad, my mom. And because at the time we didn't know what that meant. And as a kid, the first thing I went to was Google, which also didn't say much, because at the time it was, I think, 2004, 2003. It was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's baby Google, buddy. So that's not gonna happen.
And so the first question, of course, we were like, does that mean you're gonna die? And my mom was like, it's a life-altering illness. It's not a life-threatening illness, from what I know. And so that was the first thing she told us. And then from that point on, I remember just lots of doctor's appointments, we had a nurse come over, and I'm trying to remember back to like my seventh grade brain, which kind of remembers pieces and portions of this
It
puzzle.
wasn't that long ago, young fella.
But
No.
memories fade over time. But I just remember I came home and she was giving like a nurse was helping her give herself shots into an orange, like she was
Yep.
practicing to an orange. And I just remember like being like, do I need to know how to do this? Is this something I like? There was just a lot of emotions that were associated with kind of coming to terms with this new normal within our family.
This is the second time I've heard this phrase from a person who had a parent with MS, a new normal. And as MS patients, you come to the understanding that you have a new normal on your own time, in your own way. And in a lot of ways, after a lot of things have not gone right. So now that you have this new normal, how do you continue moving your way forward? And how does mom having a new normal shape how you go through the world? And like, how do you support that? And how does that charge you up to keep moving forward?
Yeah, my mom was one of the strongest people I knew, and she's also one of the kindest and happiest, and she had like the best laugh, all of that tied up into one package. And I remember her feeling, and my dad has since told me this was true. She never once wanted me to feel like something was wrong. She wanted to continue and be this strength for our family, which made me continue to kind of grow up. Like, obviously, things weren't normal, like whatever normal is, but like we were going to go downtown Chicago, but we would stop at Rush Hospital before to go to the MS clinic. Like, that wasn't something a lot of kids my age were doing with their family, but my mom would like make up for it by like taking me to see a show downtown. And that was the purpose of the day. She wanted the clinic to be the pass by, like something that I really didn't think about. And when the moment she was diagnosed, she immediately, while wanting to make things seem as normal for me as possible, she also wanted to give back and to help others. So she immediately signed up to be a hospice nurse, and she wanted to get the training to do that. And she wanted to go to nursing school, and she started to go to nursing school and get her bachelor's so that she could go into nursing school. And that just goes to show who my mom was. She didn't want her MS to define her, and that's how I remember her legacy is giving back and helping others and supporting everybody around you.
This is what I'm saying. Like, you have your own life and you're doing your own thing. You have your own goals. And then this medical condition happens and it breaks you down, man. And as you find a way to build yourself back up, you do what you have to do for yourself. You do what you have to do for the people around you, your family. And so, your mom was like, look, I don't know. None of us know what the heck this thing is, but I want my kid to feel like this thing is not crushing me right now. I want to be able to have the kid to have a normal life and then me figure this out in its own way. And in some ways, you want that and you want to need to do that. And in some ways, you want to honor the condition and be like, mommy's immune system is eating her brain and her spine right now. She's not going to want to be doing a lot of stuff right now. Can you have empathy for me, little 7-year-old person? So there's a middle one has to walk when having this condition and also having a life that they brought into this world and are nurturing and teaching to be their own life.
Yeah, you said it better than I could, and I think that was the defining part of my growing up, and not in a
Why?
bad way.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Why was that defining?
It defined my growing up because I truly think that who I am today is from the competencies I learned from my mom's diagnosis with MS and then her later on diagnosis with cancer and her passing away. I from 13 to 17, I was going to doctors' offices with her, and I was a part of that journey with her, and it taught me emotional maturity. It taught me empathy. It taught me, I always felt older than all my other classmates, where the drama a lot of times that they were dealing with, I was like, man, there's so much,
There's
there's so,
so
there's
much other things to be messed with other than
exactly.
that person did not say the thing to you, or this person doesn't like you, or et cetera, et cetera. I don't even know what kids think about, you know?
Yeah, and so like I didn't have like tons of close friends in middle school and high school. I was hanging out with my mom a lot, not because she was sick, but because I just enjoyed time with her and I enjoyed getting to hang out with her, and she got it. Like we got it each other because we knew what she was going through. I wanted to support her through that.
Yeah.
And she wanted to spend time with me. And I'm so thankful for that because she ended up passing away when I was younger. And so I always will have a precious memory of those years because thank God we spent so much time together and we got to bond with one another, because I'll forever hold that close. And that's why her legacy continues on through me.
Speaking of, you have this multisyllabic title at the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, and it sounds like two jobs. You're director of what?
Advocacy and activist engagement.
That's what I'm saying. You're director of advocacy and activist engagement. That's a lot of things to herd, cowboy. You know what I mean? Like you're going to government. You're speaking with MS patients. You're working within the understandings of an organization to be able to move their program forward. You're spinning a lot of plates specifically with this title, and being in the public eye and advocating on behalf of people with MS is a big part of it. So how did you even go from like, oh man, mom's not doing so hot, to like, I'm director of patient advocacy and all these other multisyllabic things at the National Multiple Sclerosis Society? Like,
Yeah, it's a great question. I sometimes wonder myself how I got from there to here. I think life is a winding road, but when she was diagnosed, I remember thinking as a seventh grader, an eighth grader, I can't take away my mom's pain and I can't administer her shots and I can't do a lot of these things. But what I can do is I can do Bike MS with my family. I can fundraise. I can, later on, I was like, I can go to school and learn about the brain and figure out what was going on with my mom. So I studied neuroscience in college. When I left, I started to teach. I wasn't the most into the teaching route, but I liked being with the teachers and helping them. So I started becoming a grassroots organizer. I organized teachers and worked my way into policy. And then this really divine moment happened in 2019. I was scrolling through LinkedIn and I was in a policy position in education. And I saw this position of advocacy senior manager at the society open up in Illinois. And I went, I think that if there's a divine intervention of my mom speaking to me, it is that all the things that I'm passionate about all aligned in one role. And so I applied for it and I was so thankful to get it. And yeah, I get now the opportunity to work every day with people like my mom who are living with multiple sclerosis, but who are some of the most inspiring people I've ever met. And I'm so honored that I get to advocate alongside them because a lot of them are afflicted by or living with this disease. A lot of them are family members of a person living with this disease, and they've chosen to give their time to fighting for supports for people living with MS and research funding and lower drug costs and all of these things that I find it honorable and admirable. So I always say that it was just divine. It was the fact that I get to be in this role.
right, that's what I'm saying. It seems that it's bigger than us all. And there are many moments in life where life seems bigger than you. And it seems as if having the MS moment with your mom, with yourself, you just trying to be a kid slash wanting to be there with this person that you enjoy and that you know something is off. as you're making your way forward, like what do you say to someone who is in a similar position, who's watching their parent or their super close one really go through a medical thing, that, and they can't do the thing that, you know, I can't take away your pain, I can't do this, but I can do this. Like, how do you find that balance within yourself and then make a choice and then do that choice through and hold that through line, you know?
Yeah. I feel like,
Yeah, think about that, big fella. Think about it.
yeah, I was like, that's a major question. I think that first I would just want to sit down with them and talk, because I think it would come out through conversation. But I really think this if finding out what authentically motivates you, because at the end of the day, I'm still myself. And of course, I carry on my mom's legacy. And when my mom was diagnosed, I was supporting her through ways that invigorated me as well, that I was good at and I was passionate about. We can't pretend to be someone else or do something we're not comfortable with to try to support. The best way you can support a parent or a family member is by finding out what you have a passion for and utilizing that passion to support them. Whether maybe it's raising money and you have a network of people and you love to be able to raise money for a cure. Maybe it's advocacy. Maybe it's raising your voice to about a bill that could really support your parent or your family member who's living with MS. Or maybe it's through signing up to volunteer events, or whatever it be, finding that thing and really just giving yourself towards it and using that as your avenue to connect with your family member who's living with MS. I think that would be the advice I would give.
Wow, I'm doing the same thing, doing what lights me up, like being on camera and in good frame and having good conversations with people and authentically sharing a moment in real time, but recorded. Like that lights me up. And hearing you say, find what lights you up to be able to help that person, even if it's not, okay, I filled up your syringe, okay, I have your tea ready. Like there's one, that's one sort of help, but there's also another type of help that is, as it becomes more authentic and more becoming of who you are, that's how you have the most impact. And that's how you have an impact beyond the person that you are trying to help, and how the person you are trying to help inspires how you connect with people who have no connection with that person whatsoever. And that's what's powerful. And that's what's wonderful. And it's really a beautiful, special thing that you do in that way.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, it lights me up. It keeps me going on the toughest days. I am still so happy about what I get to do, because honestly, I've never felt closer to my mom than I do now, living out this role and getting to live out this career that I get part of. It makes me feel connected with her at such a deeper level, because I feel her legacy within me, and I'm just honored that I get to share it in this way. That's honestly it's an honor and a privilege to be able to get to do it.
Two things, man, before we get out of here. How do people get more involved? I know you answer that a little bit more, but just real quick out the door, how do people get more involved? And where do people find you and the wonderful work you do?
Yeah, so people can, of course, get more involved as an MS activist by going to the National MS Society's website, become an MS activist, and typing that in, and it will bring you to our webpage. You can get signed up for action alerts, and I can also send you the link too if you want to share that out.
Put it in the
And
description, baby.
yeah, put it in. I've always wanted to say this, like in the description below. So and I think if people want to follow me, I mean, I'm on Twitter, so at McGhee Corbin. Also, you can follow the MS Activist account at MS Activist. You can follow the MS Society at MS Society. You can also follow me or ask me any questions by just emailing me at corbin.mcgee at nmss.org.
There's an authenticity and an openness that having the condition or having someone close to you with a condition brings to you. And it sort of grants you, and how you weave that out in the world is really something to behold and brings people together. And that's the most important thing, because you know it firsthand, you watched it. Bringing people together is so wonderful because MS makes you feel so isolated. So that's why there's such power in the work that you do, and such power at the insight that seeing mom's journey with it all is given to you. And so thank you for sharing some of that power with us here. Thank you.
Of course, happy to anytime, like I said, and thank you for all the work you do as well. Getting to share the word and the news with people, it's also admirable and something that's authentic to you. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, man. And thank you all for watching. And we'll see you on another MS Views Now. Thanks for watching, y'all.